Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in tonight. On behalf of all of us at Books and Books and Miami Book Fair, I welcome you to a virtual event with Tyler Cameron and Matt James to discuss Tyler's new book, You Deserve Better. Tyler Cameron is an American television personality and model. Cameron first received widespread national attention as a contestant on season 15 of The Bachelorette. Matt James is an American television personality, entrepreneur, and activist, most recently known for his historical Black role as the first Black male lead on ABC's hit show, The Bachelor. Throughout tonight's broadcast, you're invited to ask questions by using the Ask a Question feature at the bottom of the screen, and of course, you can order copies of You Deserve Better by pressing the green button below. We appreciate each and every order and the generous donations from viewers everywhere. And now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guests to the virtual stage.
What's going on? How y'all doing? Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tyler, of course, and that's Matt.
How y'all doing?
We're going to have a fun night tonight, and we're going to talk You Deserve Better.
No, I'm excited. There's so much to unpack, and if you don't mind, we could just jump right into it.
Let's jump right into it. Come on.
And where to start? So these past 2 years, I feel like last year flew by us, but before that, you had been dumped. You got cut from the NFL football team.
Yeah.
You were living on my beanbag in my room.
I was on your beanbag for about 6 months.
You were on this crazy experience on this TV show. You lost your mother.
Yeah.
We went through a pandemic. What do you want people to take away from this book?
I think there's a big mantra I talk about in this book. Kind of started early. I was on this hike, and I was in Utah at Zion National Park, and in this hike, I was freaked out. I don't like heights. I'm scared of really, just looking down, everything. But what I learned is if I just put my head down and put one foot forward in front of the other, I'll kind of get to where I want to go. But as soon as I look to the side and kind of get distracted and see how big that fall is, I'll freak myself out and I'll never get to where I'm going. I mean, I would do it. I'd be profusely sweating and all that. And what I learned is if I just put one foot in front of the other and just keep going forward and keep my head down, I'll get to where I want to go. And kind of what you talked about, there was a lot of ups and downs to that whole trajectory of what you were explaining. And that, with every up, there's a down. With every down, it's up. But if you just keep putting that one foot in front of the other and you keep going and put your head down, you get to where you need to go.
Tyler, I know this since I'm one of your best friends. You're a very complex man. You've been through a lot in life. You have a lot of things that you aspire to be. How do you go about unpacking all that in a book, in one single book? How do you get into that novel?
Yeah, this book, I think that it was just kind of looking back at, let's start back what kind of was the inspiration of the book. We sat after the show with, my agents. We were all sitting there, like, oh, we could do a book. I was like, what could it be a book about? If I want to do something, I want to have a meaning. And I was still trying to figure it out. And it was still like when the show was going on, and there was all this hoopla and craze about, me being this respectful, woke king and all these things. And I'm like, first I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was like, yeah, I'm that guy. That's cool. But then I realized like what I did was really nothing that I did the bare minimum basically. Like what I did, like I hope all my brothers do, I hope you do, and if you don't, like I hope we hold each other accountable. Like, that's not cool, We talk about consent, we talk about all these things. And so I think that's kind of where the book was rooted, was like, let's call it this dating culture that it's kind of toxic, it seems like, because if I'm getting all this praise for, doing, respecting her consent and, just sticking up for her when she's, when guys are trying to pull her down, I was like, then we have a long ways to go in the dating culture. So that was kind of like the root of where this book came from. And then it was kind of just filling in all the parts around it, like talking in the beginning about, rejection and depression and kind of coming out of a hole. And, that whole mantra I said, one foot in front of the other. And then I just kind of went from there and talk about all my lessons and kind of my dating experiences and like the lessons I learned from dating. So I can share basically my failures and my screw ups with you guys, so you don't have to do them. And then you can kind of take those and take the lessons I learned and hopefully use them for yourself. And maybe you see some things in there that like, you see your friend dating someone who's acting like I was back in the day. And then you can be able to call out, like, look at this. This is not right. He shouldn't be doing this, and you deserve better.
Right. Thinking about this next question, I feel like I can uniquely relate to some of the things that you've been through. Your public perception how people view you, what people think about you, versus how you feel about yourself. How do you go about expressing that in the book?
So 2 things. One, I try to keep, I try to, be myself within that book as much as I can. Try to really have my voice come across, in the book. But also too, like I thought it'd be cool to bring my friends involved, my family involved, and they all get to write my book, so you can see who I am through their lens. I'm a big believer, like when you do things, you do it with your people. And so if I was gonna do this book, I was gonna do it with my people. And I got my dad's in there, you're in there, my brothers are in there, my best friends are in there, my guidance counselor from high school, who is still my counselor to this day, is in there. So it's like you can see me through their lens, which is, you'll see is not much different from what you know.
Right. I know that having read the book, there's a lot that you touch on that if someone's not immediate family or a really close friend, they wouldn't know about you.
Yeah.
And it probably was initially a tough conversation with that said person. Did you walk us through what those conversations were like, getting consent to put a lot of those personal conversations in?
Yeah, well, I think the way it started was I just kind of vomited on the paper, and like kind of just in discussion when writing this book. It was just like, just put it all out there and then kind of piece it all together. It was kind of the strategy for it. And there was a lot of stories and lessons that were in there that some made it, some didn't. But like we wanted to make sure the core and important ones made it to the book. And that's kind of how we got there. And, I wanted to share, there's some very funny, goofy stories in there about, even coming onto the show and, my virginity and all these things that, are, and now I can look back at it and laugh at, but they were learning lessons and they were funny and things that people don't know about me. And I thought it'd be fun to share with you guys.
Stylistically, you did something a little bit different with this book. You kind of walk us through a set of lessons that you think we should take away from your experiences. Yeah. Why did you feel it was necessary to go about it that way, opposed to an autobiography about your life and everything that you've been through?
Yeah, because anything I like to do, I like to try and, give back and teach and help. And I'm gonna write this book. Like, I'm only 28 years old. There's not much to write on a biography about. There's still a lot of life left to live, but there's a lot of lessons I've already learned in this life. So I wanted to share those. I kind of want to share the mantras I live by and things that have got me where I am today. So that's kind of where the lessons come from. I hope someone could take 1 or 2 of these lessons and really, hold on to them. I've got some great responses from people already. There was, one girl who's a Division I hockey player, and she was telling me like she loved to hear like the sports and how it related to her, because she's like, I think the same way as you do with a lot of my sports and the way a lot of my problems. So it's so great to hear from someone like you, and just to hear those messages back up on book means to say people are connecting to it. And that was awesome to hear.
One of the things that I love about you is you are a great listener. And I know that when you're putting together something that's personal to you, you have to share a lot. So you're probably talking a lot more than you're used to in the process of writing this book. Did you learn anything about yourself through that process?
Yeah, no, there was a ton. I mean, I definitely kind of opened up a lot of things from my past that I had questions about, and the things that happened in my past, and the way, my family, with my parents, with my friends, that now I was like kind of reopening up and figuring out like that stuff still hurt me. And so I had to have those tough conversations with my parents and, with my dad, and my brothers and all that. And that was tough. I mean, we had some blowout arguments when it came to writing this book. And, but in the end, like, we all got better. We had conversations that we didn't have, that we just kind of just brushed under the rug, which is not a healthy way to go about things.
You've experienced a lot over the past 28 years, specifically these last 3 that we're going to focus on. What would you tell your 17-year-old self, graduating Jupiter High School, going to play football at Wake Forest, from a relationship standpoint?
Yeah, so I talk, and kind of how I wanted to write this book was like, it's almost like a letter to my little brothers, like a letter to my younger self, and because I was a knucklehead, man. I was such an idiot. And because my values and morals and principles were all out of whack and all out of line, like as a young kid, I was the oldest child. I was very impressionable. I remember being in the locker room freshman year in high school and seeing the seniors, talking about, oh, I hooked up with this girl, I hooked up with that. And so I was like, damn, he's cool, he's popular. So that's what it must mean to be a man, you know? Right. And so like, I got burned a couple times dating. Yeah. So I was like, oh, so that's what it is. Just go hook up with girls, Yeah. And so like I tried that, and then I I did the whole party boy scene, did all that, and really lost my focus on the things that were important, and I didn't get to where I wanted to go, and I fell short of my dreams and goals. And then when I learned dating and relationships, how great those are and how they can really help you and be for you, I was I love it. So I tell my 17-year-old self is be a good man to find a girl and be a good man to her. And then the second thing is and then focus. Make sure you can focus with that and lock in, because I was everything but those two things back then.
So talking about focus, what type of advice would you give to the young men and women, older men and women who are on this call right now, about focus and how important it is for you, and what it means to you going forward?
Yeah, definitely. No, I think first when you're focusing, you gotta have a vision. You gotta kind of know what your goal is. You gotta be able to look downfield and see what it is you want. And from there, then you can kind of drop back. Then you gotta draw up your little goals, see how you can get there. And so I think that's kind of, and then just focus on those one step at a time, one goal at a time. I talk about Eric Thomas in my book, and I talk about people that they don't know they're my heroes, my mentors. And but he talks about when you're doing tasks, take it like a sniper. You know what I mean? Take one task at a time. Boom, boom, boom. Knock it out.
Right.
Don't be all over the place. Don't be a machine gun.
Yeah.
Be a sniper when you're trying to knock out your goals. So just take it one little small step at a time, one foot in front of the other. Focus on that. Keep your head down, and don't get distracted.
On a lighter note, reflecting back on last year, what would you say one of the highlights of quarantining with your brothers and your friends and family down in Florida?
Yeah. No, that was so. I mean, to start low, we lost my mom. Pretty much right before the lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And so we were all in a dark place, a hard place, and then you put 9-10 people in a 1,300 square foot house with 3 bedrooms. Then everyone's kind of forced to love on each other and hate, and there was a lot of crap talking, but there was a lot of love. You know what I mean? Right. And there was a lot. My brothers and I were hurt, so there was a lot of ups and downs. And Matt was there, and Brown Bear, and all these other people were there to kind of help pick us up when we were down. And my brothers and I, we had our blowout arguments and fights and cries, but then we were able to pick each other up. So I think the highs was being forced to be back with each other and forced to heal together, forced to come, alive again together and get out of that hole that we were in. Grief is tough, and to get out of that together was definitely a highlight of last year.
Would you say that you felt a new level of responsibility with your mom not being around?
Yeah, definitely a whole new level of responsibility. My brothers, they're, that my brother Ryan, in Austin, my mom would be the one they talk to about a lot of things, and I try and tell them, call me when you need that. And Austin does here and there, and Ryan has done a lot, so it's been good to be there for Ryan and to see Ryan grow and see them use that grief and that pain and put it in a positive outlet. My brothers are using it for motivation for the military, and my brother's using it for motivation for football. And so, they want to we always say, make mama proud, and they're doing a great job of doing it.
During quarantine, I recall a group chat that we all had sitting on the couch where we had to go around and say which person we liked the most and the least in the house.
Yeah.
What were some other fun conversations you had during quarantine?
Oh man, I mean, there was so much. It was the 3 a.m. on the front porch conversations with Brown Bear, and just talking about whatever, and then just creating ideas, and they would just come out to the funniest and dumbest videos.
Right.
Like the TikToks and dancing and all the goofy things we all did, and also the real conversations we had, talking about life, talking about what was going on in our country with the riots and everything, and learning. We all had a lot of great conversations and learned a ton. And I think you and Phil were great, a huge part in educating us and the people in my house during those times, which was a really critical conversations for us to have.
Why did you feel compelled last summer during the peak of everything social justice coming to a head in our country to come down to Miami and protest and use your platform to denounce what was going on?
Yeah, because I mean, look at us right now. You're my brother. I've known you for 10 years now, and I want you to be more, as successful, if not more than me. I cheer you on, and that's how I am. I grew up in the locker room. I don't see color. That's one thing I love about sports is football's colorblind, man. There's one goal. It's we want to win. We want to succeed, and I think that when you come from that, your perspective is so different. And so if my brothers, my teammates are mistreated, or I see these things and I see things happen, I think about my teammates. I was like, man, that could be so and so. That could that would be heartbreaking. So I do it because I don't want to see anything happen to my people. And I don't want to see anything happen to anyone who's a minority or discriminated against. It's not the world we need to live in.
I think that I speak for all of our teammates at Wake when I say that referencing remember the Titans, that you reminded us of Sunshine.
Yeah.
That quarterback who came in kind of a little bit later on, but just everyone gravitated towards him. And I think a lot of that had to do with the way that you were raised and how your mom had black, white, brown, anybody was welcome in the house. And what do you think that's done for you and played into how you treat other people?
No, definitely. I mean, my parents, they didn't care what you were, black, white, brown, like you said. If you needed help, they were there to help you. As long as, and if you were ready to work and put in the best work, they didn't care what you did. As long as you wanted to be successful, they wanted to be there to help you and push you. And that goes for so many of the people I played with, so many teammates. So I always saw that. I was like, that's how I have to be, And I have a saying, it says, "Through love, serve one another." As long as you do things with love, you'll get to you'll find happiness and you'll serve people the right way. Doesn't matter who they are or what they are.
You're, as I mentioned earlier, a very complex person, and there's still a lot of things that I really don't understand about you. One of those things is why you find it necessary to put mustard on breakfast sandwiches. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so that comes from my redneck roots.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a dad from, he's from the South. And I don't know what the hell they do, but they put mustard on their breakfast sandwiches, and I eat it. And it's shit's good. So I one thing, I challenge y'all this weekend, go to a breakfast sandwich place, get some mustard, squirt it all over there. Every bite, it's great. But he doesn't know. He doesn't know what's good for him.
I can't co-sign that, but I do encourage people to be curious when it comes to eating. So, I've tried that, and it's growing on me.
Yeah.
One of the things that did grow on me is one of your quarantine meals that I think your dad coined, which is shit on a shingle.
Shit on a shingle. That is a classic Cameron staple breakfast meal right there. Don't worry, sweetheart. I'm gonna make that for you one day. It is basically gravy, sausage gravy on top of a piece of toast with horseshoe sauce, egg, and hot sauce on top of it. And literally, you eat that, you'll be full until dinner time.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, it sticks to your ribs. It just doesn't leave your body. You just go to the couch and pass out.
Yeah. What would you say was your number one go-to quarantine meal?
My number one oh man, you know how many burgers and steaks we made?
A lot.
We made a ton. We did my mom's old school. My mom used to make pan burgers, and the pan burgers were fire, super juicy. And so once I put Matt on those, Matt was literally making them all the time. Matt had a true addiction with burgers, and so steaks and burgers was literally all we ate. And we had Ryan there, so Ryan was always chefing it up, and he did it right. So we were eating really good during quarantine.
You have a lot of life to live.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want, and what do you see for yourself, and what lessons do you want to take with yourself on this journey to elderly age?
I say my number one goal is to be a dad, to be a husband, to be a father. Those things to me are what life's all about. All the stuff we do now is all fun and game and cool. All it is a stepping stone to the next step. All the money I make now, it's what I'm trying to provide for my future. And so that's my biggest goal. And I think if I just stick to the mantras I live by and stick to the things in my book, that book has helped me a lot. When I went back and reread it and all these things, I was finding things that I wasn't doing right in my relationship and stuff like that. So I think just taking the mantras from my book, taking the lessons from my book, relearning them and kind of growing, I'll get to where I need to go. So I think me just following my book and following my gut and just working hard, and I'll become that father and that dad and live the life I want to live.
What is one of relationship advice you would hope people leave this conversation with, as well as your book with?
I think the biggest problem we have with relationships is the fear of rejection. Even when we're with the person, we don't even want to be rejected, And what I learned from my book, and what I learned, for my book and for my past is rejection has always led me to beautiful things. I got cut from I got kicked off the football team at Wake Forest pretty much.
Yeah.
Brought me to FAU, had the best years of my life playing college football. Yeah. Got cut from the Ravens, right? And then I ended up getting my GC lessons in my MBA. Got dumped and found myself. So all these things, lead you to a new direction and where you're supposed to go. If the door's shut, break the window, kick it out, figure yourself, get through it. You're gonna get there. So just rejection is a beautiful thing. Don't be afraid of it. And in a relationship, you can't fear it. Just go for it and leave it all out there. I was talking to Rob one day.
Yeah.
And Rob said that the power of so what? He's like, leave it all out there. And if it works, great. And if it don't, so what? It's gonna hurt, but you're gonna get through it. So being able to say so what and keep moving is important.
And for those of y'all who haven't read the book yet, Rob, you will have more context to that.
Rob is in the book. Rob's one of the people writing in the book, so you'll understand who Rob is. So.
And how do you recognize that in the moment? How do you cope with the fact that something you've been pursuing your whole life, whether that be sports, relationship, career oriented, and it doesn't go your way? How do you take that advice on and apply it?
You got it. When I got cut from the Ravens was my biggest wake up call. And getting hurt in the spring league was because my whole life I worked to be a football player. And I always identified as just Tyler the football player, not Tyler the academic or Tyler this or that, just Tyler the football player, the job.
Right.
And when that was gone, I was like, what am I? Who am I? And so, what I learned from that is if I just focus on myself and making myself a better person, I don't have to identify as anything else. And when it doesn't work out, I can find another way. So just keep instilling in, investing in yourself, pouring confidence in yourself, getting yourself better, and all that stuff will work itself out.
This is a dating question for you. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to maintain a healthy relationship long distance?
A healthy relationship long distance, communication, reach out as much as you can, but also understand that you guys are living, far apart from each other, and you guys got to carry out your lives, But definitely trying to find ways to, make romantic gestures from afar, whether it's, sending them a little Starbucks gift card or getting them Uber Eats, or, I like to do when we're not together is have movie dates together, even though we're not, in the same room, but we're gonna have food and we're gonna watch a movie and, we're gonna pretend like we're together and make the most of it.
Another dating question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the least amount of money you spent on a date that wasn't bought by that person? What's the cheapest date you've taken someone on?
Cheapest date I've taken someone on. Ooh. Oh, man. The beach.
So you spent no money.
The beach, okay. you get a icy snow cone,
there you go.
Back in the day, But here's what I'll say about dating and expensive, all that. It doesn't have to be much. I write down my book. It doesn't have to be much. It just has to be about effort. You don't have to spend much money to make a date special or anything like that. Just put effort and show that you care. And that will go so much farther than any dollar amount you can put on anything. Attention, love, care is way better than Louis, Fendi, and Chanel.
Yep. Do you think that it's possible to have a healthy relationship and pursue what you want to do personally?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, it requires balance and also requires communication and both understanding each other's schedules and being able to just, this is what's got to get done for us to be able to do this, And so I think, that just all goes down to communication and understanding each other and being transparent.
How important is exercise for you?
Exercise is huge. And it's something that you can't lose no matter what, whether, it's easy to, be in a relationship and lose track of, staying in shape, but exercise is so good for your mind, your body, everything. If you're having problems with your relationship, go work out, go run, you'll start to realize that problem is not as big as you think it is. You'll sweat it out and you feel so much better about it. So physical fitness is so important for your mental fitness. So you can't ever let up on that.
What other activities do you do personally to make sure that you're protecting your mental health?
Yeah. So one of the activities I like to do to protect my mental health would be things that kind of disconnect me from everything. So that's either playing on the basketball court, it's getting in the gym. Another one is scuba diving.
Yeah.
You can't call me when I'm underwater.
That's
I can't, and I don't know what's going on, above water.
Right.
So like those are some things that I love. Scuba diving is a passion of mine because at that point it's just me in the ocean, and it's a beautiful, peaceful place. And so those are some of the things I try and do, just completely disconnect. My friends, I have Molly. When she's stressed out, she does pottery. And does like spins clay and all that. And because she's off the phone, she can't touch anything. It's just focusing on what's in front of you. I like to do boxing or jiu-jitsu as well because we can't be losing focus, or else you're going to get an arm bar or a guillotine.
Right.
So,
I think that something that's important that people take away from this conversation, as well as your book, is just getting to know you on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And to get to that point where they know you on a deeper level, they've got to know your habits, your activities, and what you enjoy.
Yeah.
From spending a lot of time with you over the past year, you love Ale House. Can you tell us about your relationship with Miller?
I write about Ale House in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I write about Captain Jack's Buried Treasure, which is like the best dessert of all time. And so Ale House is a place that I love. It's across the street from where I grew up. So if Mom didn't make dinner, we'd always end up down there. And if dinner wasn't, all of a sudden my mom would get called sometimes because she wouldn't know where we were. But like, hey, your kids are at Ale House. We need you to pay the bill. And but Ale House was also like a big date spot. You know what I mean? Like it was like a place you bring a girl to go get a Captain Jack. You're doing something sweet. So that's my spot.
Yeah, no, that was one of the more enjoyable things for me, and I think a lot of other people who lived with you last year is seeing that this restaurant that couldn't be closer to your house. It's literally at the end of the street.
Exactly.
And you had this personal relationship with seemingly everyone who worked there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was through your mom and the relationship that she's built throughout the community.
I mean, that place right there during the show, my mom was hosting, watch parties, and the whole place would sell out. And it would be all of our people, And, I mean, the Ale House is just such an intricate part of our community and what Jupiter is, and my family, and my friends. I mean, after every football game, every basketball game, we always would, migrate there and hang out. And so that's where, we kind of, it was like our coming of men, in high school. Yeah. It was a spot to be.
Why do you think it's so important for you to build these personal relationships with people? Like, why are you so kind to everybody? Why do you treat everybody from the janitor to, your football coach the same way?
Because respect is everything. My dad, was always so quick to humble me and teach me about respect. And it taught me so much, because everyone deserves to be treated with respect. Everyone deserves to be felt, like they're important, because we all are. We all are someone's, daughter, son. We all are important to somebody, So there's no reason to not treat anybody with respect. And that's kind of one of my dating tips is like, if you're out on a date with somebody and you see them treating people around you with disrespect, that's not the person you want to be with, So, be with love, respect the people around you. The janitor is just as important as the head coach, like that is how you should treat everybody.
For those hopeless romantics out there that, don't have that significant other at the moment, where would you say is the best place to find love?
Hey, what I was saying the other day, I'm a believer in the apps.
Okay.
Right? Get on the apps. Get on Instagram. Get on whatever it is, because it's just start shooting your shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. And then when you do that, though, here's my big thing, though. When you start, the conversation, you were going to set up a date. Once you get that date set, leave the small talk alone. Right? Leave the small talk behind, and then wait till you're on that date to actually have those conversations, And then don't be afraid of rejection. Just go for it, But get on the apps, have fun with it, meet people, go to the bars, go to the coffee shops. If you see a pretty guy, pretty girl, they can both be pretty, go say what's up. Go say hi. You never know what may happen.
Where do you think a not so typical place to find love would be that you think a lot of people try to find it?
I think the bar and the club is not the best place to find love. Like you'll find lust, You'll find nothing that's really lasts long, with longevity. I think you need to find things in healthy places. That's why I don't think the apps are wrong. Go meet in a healthy spot and figure it out and have conversations. My favorite date spot right away is to go to a restaurant. People are like, why would I do that? I need activity.
Right.
No, if you can't have conversation at dinner with the person, then you're probably going to have conversation when things get tough.
I like that.
So I'm a big, go to dinner, see how it is, get on the apps, shoot your shots, have fun with it.
So knowing that a restaurant is going to be top on your list of places that you're going to take a date,
Yeah.
what would you try to steer clear of eating wise if you're going to be taking a woman on a date?
Eating wise, garlic, things that make you gassy, you don't want to be tooting up a storm.
Right,
I've been there before. I had a spicy pork one time, and man, I couldn't wait to get home. I ended the conversation early with her.
Really?
Yeah, she probably, she felt probably a little jaded by it.
Yeah.
But man, I had knives shooting in my stomach different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so stay away from the spicy foods. Things that make you go to the bathroom, and stay with something more bland.
When you think about a first date and everything that goes into a first date, what type of first impression do you think is a bad one to leave and one that you're trying to leave?
One that I'm trying to leave is just that we both have fun with each other. The first date, I think, should all be about, can we communicate? Do we enjoy each other's times? Are we having fun? A bad impression would be like it was awkward. It was he was rude. I mean, we want to avoid that. It was manners crap. So come in, have manners. Communicate, be sweet, be nice, make the other person laugh and learn about them. Don't walk away from the date not knowing anything about the person you want to date with. So make sure you learn about the person sitting across from you.
What about cell phones? What's your rule on cell phones?
Cell phones, man, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Put them down. If the date goes to the bathroom and you check it, then check it. I remember my first date with Camila.
Yeah.
She went to the bathroom, and that's when you called me. I was like, "Oh man,
I remember
what
that.
up? What up?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "She's coming back. She's coming back." So,
what about alcohol?
Alcohol.
Has there ever? Can you recall an instance where you drank too much on the first date?
No, not where I drank too much on the first date, or even the person I was with drank too much on the first date. Moderate. Take care of yourself. Take care of the person in front of you. Don't drink too much. You don't want to be sloppy.
Right.
But I have no problem with having a few, taking the edge off. Being a little looser. I mean, I was probably so nervous on my first date with Camila that if I didn't have a couple drinks, I would have been like a robot the whole time.
Right.
She claims I was, but like she said I didn't smile one time. I was like, how could you not smile looking at you? You know what I mean? So I don't know what she'd say.
And in terms of intimacy, are you one that would kiss on the first date?
I'm not a big kisser on the first date. No, I'm not saying I haven't. You know what I mean? But I'm not a big kisser on the first date. I think that's what dates down the road before. I think let's just lay the groundwork, see if you guys are into each other or not. Right. Don't put the other person in an uncomfortable position. I don't think.
So that being said, what would you say is your love language?
If she starts jingling her keys by the door, you gotta go 90 and 10.
Right. I like that. Yeah. I got you.
Who knows what movie that is? You know what movie that is?
If I had to guess, I would guess Fortune.
No. Come on, man. This is like if you shave the beard, you might still get him. Will Smith. Hitch.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's a classic.
That's a classic. Yeah.
I dropped the ball.
Yeah. Paul Blart, man. But what was your question?
I was just wondering what your love language was.
My love language is I'm touch. My love language is touch. I love to touch. I love to be touched. I'm always gonna be trying to hold your hand, put my arm around you, or just I like to touch. So that's definitely my number one love language.
Do your hands get clammy? Like how do you?
My hands don't get clammy. I've been blessed with that, But I enjoy a nice pair of clammy hands, though. If they, so whatever it is, I'm good with.
And not to get too personal, but cuddling. What are your thoughts on cuddling?
Yeah, cuddling is important. Cuddling is important. Before sex, after sex, anytime you can cuddle. I love cuddling. I like So some people like to be the big spoon. Some people like to be the little spoon.
Yeah.
I have no preference. I'll be any spoon.
I like that. What about in terms of your typical Friday night?
Typical Friday night. There's two Friday nights. There's one that's more low key chilling. There's one that's going out. And I tell you what, lately I love the chilling Friday nights. I love the making dinner together and watching a movie and things like that. So that's kind of been my favorite thing lately.
Yeah, I've seen just based off your social, one of the meals that I was a little bit upset I missed was the reincarnation of the carbone dish.
Oh man!
What was the inspiration behind that?
So Camila was like, well, I'm gonna cook something. I was like, all right. So then we went through Pinterest and we found it. And man, I was so nervous at first because it was red.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
then she started stirring it, and then it started becoming orange.
Yeah.
And then we kind of made it even better though. We put so much cheese on there, and we had spicy Italian pork sausage. She crushed it. It was great. You missed out for sure. We'll make it again.
Thank you.
We'll make it again. We'll watch you next time.
How do you be a friend to your friends?
How do I be a friend to my friends? I try to be in here. Try to be able to listen. We're all going through things. We're all trying to, accomplish goals and different goals. So it's being an ear to them, listening and trying to give my 2 cents. But and then also just like finding ways to help. I love to see my friends in better positions. So I can find ways to help my friend and help them with their success. That's the way I want to do it.
Do you think that, based on your experience with television so far, we can expect to see you back on the screen soon?
Yeah, I'm gonna be back on the screens. Not your laptops, but on your TV screens. So be expecting something hopefully soon. But yeah, for sure, I'll be on the screen soon.
But to that point, without not disclosing too much, what projects are you working on that are exciting right now?
I'll go off TV for that.
Okay.
I got a lot of housing projects I'm working on in Florida. I got some projects in Jacksonville that I'm looking to work on too. Trying to grow the company 3 Natives that you guys always see me posting and talking about. So those are some exciting projects. This book is a huge project. I keep pushing that, keep getting this in more people's hands, and I'm gonna find ways to get this into my high school. And I want the football kids to read this stuff because I was one of those kids before. And I want them to read it and not be the kid that made the same mistakes I made. So there's a lot of fun projects, a lot of things going on. We got my mom's charity finally up and running. So we're going to get a big push and campaign around that for the marathon.
Yeah. So
I'm excited. We're going to be running for the Andrea Cameron Foundation, and it'll be awesome.
You mentioned one of the things you wanted to get that book in the hands of some of the high school football guys that you used to coach and can relate to because that's where you went to high school.
Yeah.
But I think one of the interesting things that we talked about before we started was how one of the people who had reached out was actually a Division I female athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So is that surprised you that you're seeing it resonate, your stories resonate with male and female audience?
No, it really means it's connecting well. I'm excited about that because this book is for the males and the females, there's women and men. It's for everybody. It's for people that are struggling, the people that are on the top of the mountain, looking down. It's for anybody who wants to read, to try and make themselves a little bit better in any kind of way, or anyone that's going through anything, or just wants to learn about it, So I think this book will resonate with athletes, will resonate with people in the workforce, will resonate with people that are in relationships. So I think it'll be good for everybody.
Just wrapping up and putting the bow tie on everything, I just want to go back to one of those first questions I asked you. If there's one thing that you want people to take away from your story in this book, in this conversation, what's that?
I'm going to go right with the title. You deserve better, you can be better, and you will get better. Go for it, push yourself, believe in yourself. The biggest thing is believe in yourself, confidence. Don't be scared of rejection. Go for it. If it ain't right, keep going. You deserve better, and you will be better. So that's it.
TC, I know you put a lot of time into this process, your heart. You laid it all out there for us, and I appreciate it for it. I appreciate you for it. I know that everyone who reads this book is going to appreciate for it, and thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for moderating, and thank you guys for watching and hanging out with us. I hope you guys enjoy the book. DM me, send me stories about what this book has done for you and what you feel like, and I would love to see it, love to share it, and excited to hear from you.
So we actually have some audience questions. Do you have time to get to those?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's see. This is from Rachel. She says, "Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm turning 24 next month. I was wondering what advice you would give to someone entering their mid-20s." And I think, Matt, you can answer this as well, so go for it.
Just raise up her thumb.
You know, she might be on the call. I was just listening.
She is 24.
Yeah, she is.
But some advice is there's so much ahead of you. There's so much unknown, and just throw yourself at everything. Go for it all. You know, I wouldn't be in this position right now if I didn't just take a shot and went for it. You know, so throw yourself at it all. Go for it, and whatever you do, give everything you got. Whatever you do.
Yeah, I guess to piggyback off of what Tyler's saying, I've seen my biggest strides and successes in life when I'm taking risks. So I would just encourage you to be a risk taker because there's no gain if there's no pain.
Exactly.
That's good advice. Okay. Is there a particular story or chapter that you really loved writing about that you perhaps never thought you would share?
Yeah, you know, I would say the one chapter I really loved writing about probably one of the is the first one, just talking about like that big hole I was in and climbing out, because that has such a big part of my life. Now the whole mantra, just putting one foot in front of the other, keeping your head down and going for it. It's the way I live my life now. So that was definitely one of my favorite chapters to kind of write about and share. I love that's the first chapter. And then another one is about building your board of directors. I'm going to talk about later in my book, and it's just kind of, you know, putting the right people around you. You know, we're all, you know, we all have weaknesses, right? So find people that help you grow in your weaknesses and learn. And so that was definitely one of them. And yeah, I mean, then also I think it's like, I love all the things my friends wrote. You know, it was fun to have them involved as well. So there's a ton of good stuff in there.
Cool. And then we have one last question, and we'll close with that one. This is from Christina. Was writing a book always a hope and or plan of yours, or was it something you realized you wanted to do more recently?
It was definitely never really much of a hope or plan back in the day, because my English teachers never wanted to keep me in class. You don't understand how many times I got kicked out of English class growing up. But I think after the show and hearing like what all the praise was for and understanding it, I figured there could be a lot of conversation around this book, and we can have a lot of great talks about this, and hopefully people can learn from this. And so that was kind of the inspiration. So it was more of like a later, you know, the past couple of years kind of thing to come up with this book.
Do you think you'd write another book?
Yeah, but the next one's probably going to be a picture book, because the audiobooks, man, those are rough. Those recording, no. But I would love to write another book. You know, this one's a success and keep growing on it for sure. I gotta live some more life though first.
Well, that's great. And we'd love to host you for the next one too. So I just want to thank you both. This was such a great conversation. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to everyone in the audience as well.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right.